Alright, so we are making, right now we're going to drill the pilot holes. These are various dowel sizes that I have cut to 1.5 and 1.25 inches high. And this is a Dremel on a drill press stand. Okay, so I'm not very exact when I do the pilot holes. I bring it down and I mark it like that, and you might want to mute it and I apologize for camera shake as this camera is attached to a table that's a little wobbly. Okay, so now we've drilled our pilot holes in it, and yes, because this isn't a full-size drill press, it does like to leave that little, this tends to have a bit of a wobble, and so it's not as perfectly clean as what I would like, but we can just use a little bit of this dust and a little bit of glue, and we use it as wood filler. But this is the beginning stages of making our buoys. Now, one of them only has that on one end. This particular one will have the long shaft that comes out one end and the short that comes out the other. And it might look a little off-center right now, but when I shave this edge off to make the cone shape on the end, that'll get taken care of. So let's pause that and we'll continue. Okay, for this section that has the point, the rod that goes all the way through, which I do cut part of it off because I don't want it too long. These are just wood sucker sticks that you can get, and if you notice, the hole's not big enough because my little short bit that I have for my drill press just doesn't come big enough. So what I do is, this one looks nice and centered a little bit more. I actually drill it through like that. I'm holding it at an angle, so I'm not digging into my self-healing mat, but it doesn't mean that I wouldn't actually do that, and wouldn't be the first time that I drilled straight through into my table. Alright, let me see if it's big enough now. Nope. So what I'm doing is I'm just running this back and forth in there, trying to slowly dig away. Put in this side. Alright, let's see. Oh, I might have to get a different bit out. I thought this for sure was the one that I used to use. There we go. Actually like that it's in there pretty tight, because what does that mean? It means I don't really have to glue it. The paint will help secure it. So I'm going to pull it back down a little bit, because I'm going to sand this off to make it the buoy shape next with my little Dremel. Okay, so this Dremel is the 2050. It does not go that fast. It does not, you know, it's not a crazy tool. It goes up to 5. And if you watched it when I was doing the wood bead for the tassel, it tends to chug because it just doesn't have the ampage. But it's perfect for this sanding because you don't want it to be too crazy. This is the ultra fine grit on this sander, because these dowels are made out of a very soft wood. They're not balsa, but they're close in softness, at least. I have a very tiny DeWalt 12-volt battery. I like the 12-volt battery for this because the battery pack on a lot of those are so big that it makes it really heavy. I could just put a drill bit into this if I wanted to, but I have this, so I don't want to keep changing bits out of each thing. So that's why I do it the way that I do it. And so I don't need that one. I'll use that one right now. All right. So I'm just going to do one set to show you guys. You don't need to watch me mass produce a bunch of things. So this one is going to have nothing on the end, just a spot for a loop to go in. Same with this one. This one is the little red and white stripy one that's just a skosh smaller. And in the end, I'm going to end up sanding all of this stuff down. You can see that this will get hidden up in its kind of defective little chunk of wood there. It's going to get shoved up in, so nobody's going to be the wiser. All right, so now to get the little curved edge on it, I'm going to pull the camera down. I don't know if you want to mute it or fast forward through it, but this thing isn't all that loud. All right, and I'm basically going to turn it just like a potter's wheel, because I want to keep turning it, keep turning it, keep turning it to make sure that what I take off is relatively even. If you stick to one side too long, it's blowing right in my face. Hold on. All right, I'm going to keep doing it up here. You know what? We're going to go like this. Oh, look, that's a lot of detritus down in that lovely trash can. Let's pass on that. I don't think you want to see that. We'll just use the dark background. And I kind of keep it stable with my thumb. Okay. I don't know if it's focused or not. Come on, focus camera. There we go. Ugh, it does not like that. Sorry. Trying to get you good camera angles. So trying to maintain the same pressure all the way around. Now I'm going to look and I'm going to see my hole is We need to take some more off of one side because we want that hole to look somewhat centered, and it really isn't right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to push that stick up a little bit. Turn it down a little. That's getting a little noisy. So slow the speed down a little bit so I have a little more control over it. I can see it's relatively okay. I want a little more longness to it, right? Okay, I think I've got the majority off. Okay. Now, definitely not prepared. Here's my sandpaper. It is P400 extra fine finishes. I'm going to rip a little piece of that off. We're going to kind of do a little 3-point tuck there with our fingers. Okay, so as we're sanding it, doing the same thing. We're trying to evenly sand all the way around, spinning it. Right? Let's see what it looks like. It's pretty good. Yeah, there's a little bit of a Quasimodo hump on the one side, but if you've ever seen a buoy, they're weather worn, they're not always perfect. I just keep sanding it down. Okay. And I want to make sure to sand all of the sides. And on the long parts, I go with the grain. Okay, you don't want to go like this because, like I was just doing up here, because it leaves lines going against the grain. Kind of tough with this stuff. Okay, now we're going to kind of hit the bottom of this as well, because the smoother you make it now, the better the tape will adhere when we paint it. And you don't want bleed under your tape. Okay. Ooh, gosh, I'm not even standing on camera. I apologize so much. Okay, let's look at it. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Ooh, twist it up in there. Oh, perfect. And I want this to be a little longer because I have a starfish that we put on over the buoy on the lobster trap ornaments. But I will probably cut about a 1/2 inch off here. And with that, I need my handy, yes. What do we use our wine corks for? We use them to put on our X-Acto knife blades because we don't want to break the tip off when we put it in a jar, and it's easier to find in the jar. Okay, so I'm going to take about 1/2 inch off, and I do it like this. It's really, really technical. I mean, watch it, ladies, people. Okay, and just keep pressing down, keep turning it. Okay, now that you got that first roll established, keep turning it, pressing very hard, pressing very hard. And we're through. Look at that nice blunt cut. Now we're going to take this vertical, okay, straight up and down on that. And we're going to take the edge off of it by folding it. Okay, so that's nice and rounded. Voila. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next two. Feel free to fast forward through my ever-loving. I'm going to come up a little higher for you. Back to this, so go ahead and watch. Fast forward. I'm going to do the last two for you. I would like to take a moment to say, if for safety purposes, it's wise to wear a glove that has a leather padding on it. I have skinned my hand on this when this has jumped or just gotten a little lazy with wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. Please be very careful when you're using your Dremel that you're wearing eye protection. I have on my glasses with the eye protection sides on them. And so just be very careful when you're using this. just going to do some sanding. I'm using my thumb. I'm pushing it into the soft part of my finger so that it lends it to a round, soft area. It helps smooth it out and gets rid of all those little dots and dash marks I made as I was going around the edge. Okay, same thing here. It becomes very apparent when you put paint on. If you find that there's a spot that's too flat or you don't like it as you start to put on paint, just start sanding again. It's not going to hurt it. But personally, I like a few imperfections in things that I do because I am not a machine. Now, you won't really see a lot of that aspect of it. It's nice when you're doing a flat area to just put it against another flat area when you're sanding a flat area. Sorry if my camera is wiggling. It's on the same table that I'm working on. Okay, I'm going to do the same with this. Try to let you see a little bit better there. How it's just kind of cupped in there. Keep kind of spinning it so you're not just doing it in one direction. I can feel some little chunks in this side. And you have to kind of move it around because you'll start to get a buildup of sawdust. Alright. You'd think I lived near the marina with that lovely horn. That's the neighbor coming to pick somebody up. Or a train. Nope. It's the dude's truck next door. Okay. So, yes. My shop is filthy. I just cleaned this shop and now it's lovely. So, here we go. We have 3 different buoys. Now is the fun part. We get to paint. Actually, hold on one second. I'm going to go grab something else to show. Okay, for those of you that do not want to go to all this effort for a round one, but you want a simple buoy. Well, one of the nice things is balsa wood. You can get this at Hobby Lobby. I think your local lumber store, wherever you'd like to attempt to get it. And one of the things that you can do is it comes in a whole bunch of different sizes. But the beautiful thing about balsa is, hold on. Where is it? This lovely little saw that I have. It's extremely soft, okay? I mean, really soft. And a utility knife will work, even though my little X-Acto was going to make me struggle a bit more than I wanted to. Okay, so you saw that kind of cut like butter. You can tell that I've also already experimented on the top of this one. Come on, focus. I don't know if you can see it because the light is so bright. Okay, so I've already whittled off a little area. Okay, and I'm just going to do the same thing. Make it rustic. Just take your blade and kind of chop into it like this. Get a good, oop, be careful because it's so soft. If I push down too hard on it against this, it's going to put a crease in it. Okay, just go like this. Okay, try to get all of your cuts about the same size, right? Angle. Now bring this over here like this, and on this angle, let me see if I can, lovely trash can shot there. Okay, see that angle? I'm going to lay it right down on that kind of flattish area. Yeah, like that. I'm going to go like this. And see how it's going to get it nice and smooth? Change it over to this side. Okay. And yeah. And okay. And then you have a little rustic buoy. And the really nice thing about this particular one had a hole in the end of it, but you probably want to take that piece off. I don't know if this is going to be fine enough, if it's going to muck up the whole thing. Yeah, it kind of bunched it up there. Sorry, guys. It's so soft. So soft. All right. Okay, see how it has a little hole in it? I would cut it off more and make your cuts a little better than what I did. Anyway, I can keep shaving that off. But anyway, so you have this little rustic buoy, okay? And you can just put a loop right in the top. Use your drill bit, a much finer one than this, because this will eat this thing up. And for a loop at the top, you really don't need that much. And basically, hold on. This is sort of how this, where they just cut them like this and put a thing on the top and then painted them a bright color. So there are other options. Unfortunately, the balsa wood does not come in round. And the one, well, it does, but it is so expensive because of somebody hand sands all of these edges down. So it's just easier to buy a big piece of dowel. I believe that is the 5/8. Might just be a half, a little over. And then this one is the, no, that's the half, and that's the 5/8, I believe. Yeah. Anyway, then you can scale it down to whatever size you need, so it's appropriate scale for whatever you are trying to create. Okay, I'm gonna get all my painting stuff out and we're gonna get these painted. Alright, time to prime an inexpensive acrylic paint. Really never need to put that much on, but I always do and end up regretting it for waste. Alright, so this all primed. Yeah, I tend to get a lot on my fingers. I know, that's a no-no. Alright, for the ones that do not have a stick through them, I have beveled the end and kind of just cram it up in there. We're going to be doing a couple of coats on these. Tend to do thinner coats just because they dry faster. I'd rather do a couple. Okay. Take this one. Shove that in there. Piece of gunk on my, came off my brush, probably from the dry paint that's still stuck to my plate. You can tell I'm extremely careful when I paint. Alright, and dry. Ooh, that was lovely. Still very wet. Well, I guess that means I have to stop for a minute. All right, so we're gonna get painting. We have 1/8 inch masking tape. It's pinstriping tape that I got off Amazon. And what I do is I take a little piece. I start. I'm going to do part of it blue, part of it red. So I'm going to mask off. And I kind of just eyeball it. Okay. And again, I use my dowel needle to push this down to make sure that it overlaps it the way I want, where I want. And then I use the edge. Whoop. I totally just bunged that, adding a little black stripe there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll just cover that up. Brilliant. Okay, and I still need to sand that little bit down that I kind of got all gross when I put it into the styrofoam. I will deal with that once that looks pretty good. All right, let me see if my lovely little kneaded eraser will take some of it off. Not really. Wonderful. Oh well. So, just gonna take a skosh of white paint and dab over the top to try to get most of it covered. Yeah, that didn't work out very well. All right, let you dry for a minute. Move on to the next one and get the tape on. I'm going to make this one I like to vary the heights a little bit. This time I think I'll use my one that has a clear on it instead of messing that up again. Okay. Just burnish that down so it's relatively tight. Hopefully paint won't leak underneath it. But you just touch it up a little. Now, this is the one that you're probably going to want to fast forward through. I'll tell you when. I leave a little extra at the bottom. A little whiter there. bring it around like so. Okay. Looks relatively even. You can tell I'm not a hyper perfectionist when it comes to this. This one is a spacer, so we're going to lay it right next to this one. Okay. I don't really care if it meets. Because we're going to pull it off in a second. Okay. Try to keep all your tape joints in the same area, so if it mucks it up at that junction, you can hide that side to the back. Right. Pull this off. Spacer. I mean, if you want to sit and carefully mark it all out because you don't want to keep putting this little spacer in there, go ahead. That's okay. Whatever works for you. There's our little overlap junction. Okay. So when I first started doing this, I was trying to cut little 1/8" pieces of tape, making myself absolutely insane. And I thought, I know there's an easier way to do this, especially since I kind of have to mass produce these in a certain respect for all the different people. Oh, we already did that one, sort of, but I should have probably sanded this a little after I primed it so that it was even smoother. But sometimes I like it to look a little rough and not quite so polished. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's stab that back on. So, red and blue, red, yellow, and orange. Okay, now I'm going to take this off because I forgot. I don't put a white stripe on this one. Okay, and I'll show you why. I actually bump the colors right up against each other. And I like to use a little longer brush versus, and this is a very junky brush. Because it's going to pull the paint differently than the hog bristle. Okay. And it's, to me, this right now, doing the big bulk kind of paint. That's not why I use this one for this, because this could be the hog bristle. It's for when I do around all of the tape work mainly. The less coarse hairs that are in this. Just make it smoother. Okay, so that's, oop. I don't need to because I'm going to do this orange later, but I'm still going to base coat this in yellow. I wouldn't think it would make a difference, but could shift the color a little because it's, you know, kind of cheap paint. All right. Next, we're going to, red. Orange. I always love it when it has gotten empty and it's sitting around for a while and you get a big old coagulated glob of paint in there. You try to squeeze it out and you get this huge amount. Yeah, that totally didn't really cover that well. We'll just keep doing major paints. Paper towel. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and get the blue on. And so this is sewn on in a directional way. So that little boo-boo lip there, I'll just push that out so that I will put the little loop that I put on this towards the bottom there, and the starfish laying on top of it will completely hide it. Nothing's more fun than watching paint dry. Okay. Now, of course, you can make your buoys whatever colors you want if you have special that's how they tell it in the ocean. Most people do different colors. Oh, why am I doing that? I already have it out. Brilliant. And that's how they go along and they know that that buoy is theirs, is because it's like a brand. They have specific colors. That's why you see such crazy colors and different patterns, and at least it used to be that way for that reason. Now I'm sure they probably have GPS markers or some such thing on their buoys. Traps for the commercial stuff. And we don't care about getting on the white stick on this one. I had to on the last one. Alright. Not too much. You just don't want to get it too thick. This is just regular acrylic paint, and I am going to be spraying it with a urethane. Totally just stuck my thumb. I'll have to fix that. Knew there was a reason why I didn't grab that top one. Because the paint was still wet. Okay. All right. Let's see if the red one here is semi-dry. We'll come back in, do a second coat. Okay. All right. Now, back to this one. Take a piece of tape. And here. Geez, almost can't even see the piece of tape. Can't tell if it's focusing for you guys. Okay. Kind of just burnishing the bottom side. Okay. I'll look at this for a second. Yeah, cool. Okay. This is definitely going to take a couple coats. Okay. Rinse that. Okay. Get some. Okay. Cheaters on here. Okay. And there it is. Might have a little bit of, oh no. Tiny bit of paint. Oh, but ooh. Almost grabbed right onto that freshly painted white. Okay. Oop. Still wet. Oh, it's wet on the tape. Okay. Okay. Look at that tiny bit at each spot. You know what I'm going to do with that? I'm probably going to razor blade it. Oh, of course, the last one comes out perfect. Let's see if I can. Nah. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it. Might damage it more and then it, yeah, it'll hang it to the back. Okay. All right. All right, now these have to dry completely, and then they will get a coat of clear. So we'll see you then. Okay, it's time to, so we're gonna take this off. These have been sprayed with clear acrylic extreme lacquer. It's okay. It's a decent gloss to it. I'm still looking for one that gives me the same shine as the enamel model paint, but it'll do. So take all. This one might be stuck tight. There we go. And final one. Now, okay. So each one of these will get a loop of tiny cording. We are going to slide it out like that. I don't like too large of a loop on them. So like that's about an inch, I guess. Okay, one. Another one. Not quite big enough. Okay. Right off there. And I'm going to take another little piece here. Tie this off so it doesn't unfurl. Wow, I don't want to waste that much. Okay. Cut it right across there. Cut it right across there. Kind of poof it up. I kind of roll it so it's round. Let's see if it'll fit in. Okay. Cut it down. And of course, I have moved my dowel needle out of the way. Right down in. All right, so that one's gonna work. I'll do the same thing here. Okay. So now get this really full. put a pin down in because I'm sure there's an air bubble in there. Yeah. Oh, I just love it when the neighbors work on their cars. Or whatever it is. Now I'm gonna kind of splay this out so that the rope goes side to side. Okay. I'm doing that so it's gonna get good glue adherence. Or at least it sounds good in my mind theory. Push it down in. I lose a lot of pins that way. Okay. All right. Now, for this lovely little piece, I'm using some staples. Okay. Take one off. Okay. Need two. Of course, my other needle nose pliers aren't here. Actually, I can just bend it with my finger. Sorry. Just bend it with my finger so it makes a U shape. I'm going to come in here and I want to cut it. Okay, and flip it over, cut it again. Now, let's see. I know I have this kind of little part that I don't really love. Take this, I'm going to grab it with my clippers. See how it's kind of splayed out? I don't know if you can see that. I want to bring that so that it's a little straighter, so when it goes down in, the staple is straight-ish. Okay, so now I'm going to grab it like this. I'm going to decide what side I'm going to put it on, and then I'm going to make marks. Okay? All right, so we can see the marks there. Then I take one of my giant tacks and I basically put a little pilot hole there for my tack, my staple, mini staple. Ugh, my fingers are so big. Okay, so now I'm going to put it in the palm of my hand and I'm going to push it in. Okay, All right. So what I used to do is I tried to like drill a little V hole in it and feed my thread through it. I just found it was way too taxing. So here we go. We have our buoys are ready. Okay. And now we just need to make the net. All right.